So 12 hours later, and it is Bubble City here. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. Time, oh here, maybe this is a bit better. Time for a refresh. Every single time the volume goes up quite a bit as well. So I'm excited to see what it's gonna look like in a few days. Here's my friend. It's probably what some people feel like when thinking about sourdough. Hello everyone. So welcome to, I believe it's day 4. I'm just gonna show off my starter between feedings today and look at that. So it's definitely doubled in volume between feed. So I'll ask Lauren what she thinks, but I think that tomorrow might be bake day, and by bake day I mean it's going to take us the whole day probably to make the sourdough. So either way, that means that we will be tasting sourdough soon, and I'm excited to see what it'll be tomorrow. Good morning. Today is going to be bread shaping day. I gave my starter the final feed before we start with the bread recipe, and this afternoon is going to be the day. I'll tune in with you soon. All right, we're ready to start baking, or at least dough making. So when I fed it today, basically our mixture was up at this line here. So it's clearly doubled in size, and I have my water measured out already. Now we're mixing our starter with our water, and we're gonna mix it so it becomes a uniform solution. This is what the mixture, I had to mix better before, looks like with the starter and the water. So it's a uniform mixture. And I'm adding in, this is my combined whole wheat. This is what the mixture looks like now. It's pretty sticky, but there's no dry patches on the actual dough. So I'm going to wash my hands, but cover this and let half an hour. And now we're going to add the salt. I'm going to sprinkle it as much as I can, probably actually with my hand, just to make sure it's even over the top of the dough. I felt like it was really well incorporated, the salt, that is. I didn't feel any more granules, and I'm going to cover it up and see it again in 30 minutes. So it's been 2 hours into the bulk ferment. I just did the folding, and I'm going to let it for 1 to 2 hours just sit on its own. It's supposed to increase in size by 30%, so we'll see. So as we see, this has increased, I'd say, by 30%, and it's time to take it out onto the counter. Okay, so I don't have a bench scraper, so I'm using this barbecue spatula, which I'm hoping is pretty much the same thing. It's not really as sticky as it was when we first started, which I guess. And 3, 2, 1, pop! Now we're gonna set this away for 3 to 4 hours until it rises by 50%, I believe, and then it's ready to put in the fridge. Good night, bread. Good night. So our oven has preheated to 500 degrees, and now what we're gonna do is grab our bread here. We're gonna flip it over onto here, so it's upside down. Bread over onto the parchment, and I'm supposed to score it. So I don't have a professional scorer, but I do have a knife that I just sharpened. So I'm just gonna, I don't know if this is what my scored bread looks like. Now I'm going to shift it over. I'm going to take out my heated Dutch oven, and I'm going to drop it inside. I dropped the parchment with the loaf inside. I'm going to put the cover back on. It's important that your oven preheats with your oven so that it's already nice and hot. Make sure this is on. Now I'm going to drop my temperature down to 450. That's dark in there. I don't really see much. Taking off the lid. Oh my gosh, that got sticky. All right, well, we're gonna tuck this guy back in for another 25 minutes. Moment of truth. Don't get too close to the vlog. And we're looking for that hollow sound. Hear that? It's the final day, I think this is day 6 now, of the bake-along, and look! I have a sourdough bread. I know, I can hardly believe it myself. Like, look at it. I think that next time I probably do a better, more thorough job with scoring, but the most important test is still in front of us, and that is the taste test. So I'm just heating up some soup, and I'm getting ready to cut into this baby. Oh, that's good stuff.